Okay, so in my sociology class, we are talking about some of our blind spots, especially when it comes to social issues or political issues. And so, my first question for you is going to be, what's a topic that you aren't knowledgeable about that you pretended to be knowledgeable about?
Herbal remedies and medicinal plants.
And can you give us some context to that? Like, what happened that you pretended to be knowledgeable about this?
My dad was talking about a plant in the backyard that was useful for something, and I said it wasn't, and that something else was, because I had a vague idea of that, but I wasn't sure, and I ended up being wrong. And yeah.
So, why do you think you pretended to be knowledgeable about something like that? Especially, when it's just you and your dad.
Because I feel the need to one-up people. Yeah, I don't know. It was just kind of felt like an impulse, if you will.
An impulse. Would you say that you frequently feel like you need to know more about everyone else in a conversation?
Yes, it's competitiveness.
No, that's real. So after that interaction, did you take any steps to further educate yourself on herbal medicine, or was this like, I just lied and I'm gone?
I got a pamphlet at HEB by the checkout thing, and I have it in my car. Did I read it? No, but I have it.
Well, that's okay, I guess. And is there anything stopping you from learning more about this subject?
I mean, other than myself, no, but I just haven't put the time into it because I have what I think are more important, like other priorities. Mm-hmm. So kind of got put on the back burner.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're not the only one who's done this. Obviously, everyone, I think, has pretended to know more about an issue. But with that being said, what do you think is an issue that people pretend to be knowledgeable about on a daily basis?
Food insecurity and poverty levels.
Wow. Those came pretty quickly.
I feel very strongly about that.
Do you have an example or a life experience or something?
In Brighton College Station, 30% of people are under the poverty line. A bunch of people rely on food stamps, the food pantry, like the Bridge Ministries, and then the Brazos County Food Bank. What was the rest of the question?
It was just asking, like, what they pretend to be knowledgeable about.
Facts. So people think it's not as bad as it actually is, but with the amount of produce and food that's thrown away in grocery stores, we could be feeding people, but because stores are looking for money and you lose money when you donate that, they don't donate as much as they should, so people end up starving.
And why do you think that people pretend to be knowledgeable about such a serious topic?
I think that people don't want to acknowledge how bad it actually is because it means recognizing that we're super privileged just to have like 2 meals a day. Because I mean, when you're seeing families roll through food distribution and like you can't give them enough for like, and it's just like supplemental groceries for people already on food stamps. When you're saying I can't give you enough food to like get through these few weeks, and you realize that there's 150 cars in that line, the problem is so much worse than people actually think it is. And that's just one food bank. Yeah. Like, it's like this all across the country. Poverty, a lot of people turn a blind eye to it because it's really ugly to acknowledge that people get stuck in this cycle, and there are systems that encourage that.
So you would say that a lot of this turning a blind eye or blissful ignorance would probably come from a place of just like, oh, that makes me uncomfortable to talk about, and that in that conversation, like I don't even want to think about how bad it is.
Totally, it's fear to acknowledge it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So on that note, what can we do to help these people figure it out? I mean, what can we do to help them realize, okay, I don't know as much about this as I thought I did. What can we do?
People need to look into volunteering in communities. People always need to volunteer. I mean, like the Humane Society and Brighton College Station always need volunteers. Food banks always need volunteers. You can volunteer to deliver food. You can volunteer to collect food. You can donate. There's a lot you can do. You just have to actively seek it out. But I mean, one Google search, like volunteer opportunities. There's a ton of stuff that's going to come up. You just have to be willing to like be open to it and be open to uncomfortable experiences because they do happen.
Yeah. And that's interesting that you bring it up because, something that you said like, oh, I have the resources to know more about herbal medicine, but I just have to invest the time. And I think time investment is, half the battle for these people. So.
Yes, ma'am.